We're back at it again with another episode with the Tapping In podcast group. You know, we have a special guest, Arturo Romero.
Yeah.
Let's explain a little bit about what you do.
All right, so how's everybody doing?
Good. What up?
I do sports performance training. I do coaching. I own my own business. It's a nonprofit organization. We work a lot with like kids in the community and just trying to give back to the kids and just bring good coaching and good knowledge to the kids, as well as like developing leadership and whatnot. So that's kind of a little bit of what I do. So.
Damn. How old are you?
22.
Jesus.
Oh, shit,
Damn.
When'd you first start coaching? Like, how'd you get into that?
So I started right as soon as I like finished my first year playing college football. I decided to move on and take the coaching route. And so it was like 2018 when I like officially first started like trying to get out there and like build a clientele and like just kind of getting involved with the community and stuff like that.
What college did you go to?
University of Laverne.
Oh shit, the
Yeah.
Leopards. I have a bunch of
Yeah.
homies who went to Laverne. Shout out Miguel. You
Oh.
know
That's
Miguel
right.
Guerrero? He's a
Oh
quarterback.
yeah,
Shout out
yeah,
Miguel.
yeah,
Quarterback.
yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
Miguel.
Shout out Miguel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. You went to Sure as well?
No. I went to Bosco Tech in Rosemead.
Oh,
Bosco
okay.
Tech
Bosco
and-
Tech.
Oh, you
Shit.
went to Bosco Tech? Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
Bosco
Yeah,
Tech.
that's why I
Wait,
know
is
that.
Bosco Tech
That's
is it like a regular school or is that the all boys school?
Yeah, no,
It's
that's
all-
all boys school.
all boys
Yeah,
school?
it's like a technology school, so it's like real specific to like engineering and just like a lot of different like sciences and architecture and stuff like that. It's really cool school.
shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what made you take that sports route rather than like an engineering route or like a science mathematics route?
It's actually funny that you asked that because when I was like in high school and like my 8th grade year transitioning to like my freshman year, I wanted to do prosthetics engineering for like athletes and whatnot. And I did robotics at Bosco Tech like for a summer program when I was younger. So I was like really into like robotics and just engineering and like how the body moved as well because I was an athlete. I played
Yeah.
sports. Thank God, I never got any injuries. But as I kind of got a little bit more into engineering and like just kind of like the different components of it, like like there's like manufacturing engineering, like there's also like just engineering how like the thing actually moves, like and then the technology behind it, like designing like the robotic movements and stuff like that. It's like really complicated.
Yeah.
So that was like the thing that I wanted to get into. And then as time went on, I was like, all right, I would rather work with more athletes. Like I would rather work with like people within my community, people in the area that like I know have, the talent and the capability to go and make it to the next level, but don't have the right connections or, the right coaching. So it was kind of like, all right, well, I think I could serve a bigger purpose and like developing leaders and like people within the community,
Yeah.
So that was like the reason why I was like, all right, no, engineering, like I'm cool. Like, and I don't know, it's just more school too, so I was like, nah, definitely not.
Wait, you keep mentioning community and neighborhood, but what neighborhood specifically are we talking about?
So like the San Gabriel Valley, basically, just everywhere from I would say probably like the borderline of like Pomona, Laverne area, all the way to like inner city Los Angeles, like Boyle Heights and El Sereno and stuff like that. And I mean we reached like everywhere as far as like Montebello. We've worked with kids from Compton and different parts of like that side of LA. As well as like Pasadena, Arcadia, and like West Covina. So there's like a really wide range of kids like that we work with, but we try to keep it like local to the San Gabriel Valley. So
What age groups do you guys train? From what age to what age?
so specifically, the youngest I've worked with is like 8 to like 10-year-olds, but that's like not on a consistent basis. As far as like weight room training and like field training, I would say it's probably like kids from like 12 all the way up to like seniors in high school, like JUCO college athletes.
Wait, so it's specific to football only?
No, so the football thing that I do is like I coach high school football, and so like that's like the main thing that like we focus on. But we've had soccer athletes come in for training. We've had track athletes. We've had basketball athletes. Like I even like have had MMA fighters in there. Like
Oh shit.
I also do
That's
like fitness training for like women and stuff like that. So it's like a real like wide range of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Wait, you said high school coaching at an actual high school you coach at?
yeah,
What high school?
LaSalle in Pasadena.
Oh, okay.
No shit.
And
Dope.
what do you're like a skills coach there for like a specific position or what?
Yeah, so I actually coached the wide receivers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, did you play wide receiver in high school and in
I
college?
did.
Too?
Yeah,
I figured.
that was what I got recruited for the next level.
Oh,
I
shit.
started out as a quarterback, which is funny because I was actually talking to like my kids about it today. But I actually started out playing quarterback and then moved to receiver. It was like a better option. It was, I'm not 6'1", like I
Yeah.
can't see all these big guys.
Yeah.
Like nah. So, but it was
Mm-hmm.
cool though. I enjoyed my journey. Like I enjoyed playing sports and it was interesting. I met a lot of cool people and I think that's like the biggest thing for me is just networking and just constantly meeting new people and leveling up in that sense.
What sports did you play growing up and in high school?
That's actually really funny. It's so funny that we're talking about this because I was actually talking with somebody about it earlier. But I just played baseball. Like that was like my first sport that I played.
yeah.
But I
shit.
was god awful, bro.
Oh, really?
I was super like I couldn't hit the ball. Like literally.
Hey, that
like,
shit's it's hard, man.
it is like for real. So that's like I started out playing baseball, and then I played basketball for a couple years. That was really cool. I played a little bit in high school too. And then, like, football is just, like, the main thing that I was good at. And then when I got to high school, I did soccer and track, too. So,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Are there any programs that you would do or any classes that you take to become a coach?
Yeah, so there's actually, like at the University of Laverne, like, I've studied kinesiology. Like, that's what my major is. So it's not, like, business or, like, anything like that. I actually, like, learned the science of sports training and, like, how the body works and how it moves and, like, how to feed your body properly and stuff like that. So there are classes that we take, like, strength training classes where, you learn how the body's supposed to move, like how to actually apply, like, weight to, like, teaching somebody how to use it and whatnot. And then I also took a football class with who was the football coach at the time at the University of Laverne, Coach Warsaw. And, like, his football class was basically teaching you how to be a position coach for every single position, like how to break down, like, drills and, like, whatnot, and, like, just different, like, coaching styles. So, like, we learned about, like, like Jim Harbaugh, just, like, a bunch of, like, the greats and whatnot. And so it was cool, like, being able to be in those classes and have that opportunity to, like, learn. And again, like I said, network. Like, he's now a Division I, like, recruiting analysis, like, at another school. So, from the Vern and, like, a D3 school, like, now somebody at the Division I level. And it's funny because I actually just talked to him, like, I would say, like, 3 days ago. So, yeah.
Shit, that's crazy.
Damn. Who's the oldest person you ever coached?
How
old were they?
The oldest person I've ever coached, man. I would say maybe like 25, 26, maybe around there. I have my friend Derek Nubia. He plays semi-pro football, and so
shit.
like he comes through to the gym and like he does training and like we do field training and whatnot. So like I kind of help him with like his movements. But man, he's like a crazy linebacker D, and like bro, it's just blowing shit up over there. So
He plays like overseas, or it's like the indoor arena?
so he just got signed to an indoor arena league, but he was playing like he was like before that it was like semi pro, like it was like a level below it, so they would just play like at like local fields and whatnot. But yeah, he just like signed over to doing all that, like the indoor football and all that.
Shit.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
You said you were. Oh no,
Go for it,
I was
go
gonna say. You said that the oldest that you trained was like 25 and stuff like that. Do people ever like? Because you said you're 22. Do people ever like look at you like since you're young? Do they ever try to like do you ever get like discouraged or like maybe they try to like judge you just because of your age?
Yeah, I mean, discouraged. I try not to get discouraged. I try to like stay positive and just like stay the course. But yeah, I have dealt with like a lot of adversity, like like football coaches like kicking me off their field and like just like
Damn.
like just like hate on social media like for no reason, like from coaches, like
Damn.
and like during the pandemic, like we were trying to do some stuff for some kids and like this like news reporter was like trying to bash me. Yeah, you
I remember that shit.
What happened there?
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah, he was like
Idiot.
trying to like bash on my name and was like trying to like make it seem like I was like taking from the community and like trying to do bad by people. But I mean, honestly, like throughout the whole quarantine, like even he knows, like he was there, like we just gave these kids like endless opportunities, like to work out, like to hit the field, and like at a time when like nobody was doing anything, like and when we weren't even supposed to be doing anything, like we actually like put ourselves at risk, like to to like give these kids an opportunity. And like a lot of those kids that trained with us during quarantine and like that did the work with the off season with us, like really benefited from it, and like they turned out to be like stars on their team, and like they're getting recruited right now, like play college ball. So it's like people try to like people try to like talk down on what I do and like negate what I do, and it's like instead of like trying to put me down, like you should be like, you know, you should be trying to help me, you know,
Yeah.
like you're a grown adult, like
Yeah.
you know, like you could be putting me on game, like you could like be a mentor and like, you know, help, but people would rather like, you know, try to put people down and like it's like, you know, it's just like just kind of like it's like a spoof, like, you know, people are like scared, like, oh shit, like, you know, this kid's like up and coming and he's young, and it's
Yeah,
like,
man, they don't want to see it.
They feel threatened.
Yeah, they
yeah,
feel threatened, man.
you know, and it's like that's not even at all what like that's not even how like I approach it, you know. It's like I just want to help, like, you know,
Yeah.
and like my goal is like to coach at the NFL, you know, so like whatever like beef that people have like locally in like these cities and like it's a very egotistical driven like industry, but like, you know, I just try to be above all that, you know, and like I tell people like, you know, I'm a professional, you know, I'm not just like some kid off the street that's like just doing it, you know, like I own a business, like I've been doing it for like, you know, going on 4 or 5 years now, whatever. So it's like, yeah, like you can't just like try to like just like put me down and say like, oh no, it's like nothing, like no, you know, it is something,
Yeah.
you know. So
Do you still attend the University of Laverne?
actually, I do actually, yeah.
Well, when do you graduate?
So I'll be finishing in the fall of this year, actually.
How many seasons did you play at
2022.
Laverne?
Just one.
Oh, you only played one. Did you get
Yeah.
injured or no?
No, I didn't get injured. For me, it was like we were basically paying to play. Like, you know, it's like college football. Like, but we had to like pay for our spirit pack and whatnot. Like, you still had to pay to go to school. So,
So I mean, what
So it's
kind of
too
made
much
you?
out of pocket.
So then, what kind of made you want to stop then?
just like, you know, just like the fact that we weren't getting like, it wasn't like a scholarship. Like, you know, it was like I actually had to like make money. Like, I was in school and like my parents couldn't, you know, keep like affording to pay for like gas and like just everything that I was doing. And like at the time, like football was like everything that I did. So I wouldn't have time to work. And like, so
Yeah, because football is a full-time job. If you're an athlete in
Yeah.
like any
Yeah.
division college, bro, it's a lot. Like a lot of people overlook like how much time it takes up, bro.
Hell yeah.
No,
Like it's like
literally.
it's all year round too.
Shit
Like
takes up your whole
season's
life.
over, like your whole off season begins, and you're in the weight room and you're on the field, you're working. Like it's year round.
yeah, no, literally. And like that, like you said, it is year round. And it's like, you can't, a lot of like college athletes like struggle, like even especially at the Division III level, because you know, you have guys that have like 6 a.m. practice, like you said. Then you got classes probably until 12. Then you probably have like some type of film session or something going on. And if not, then you got to go to work. Like
Yeah.
you know, you got to go like to campus, like store, and like go do your job for, you know, like 5 hours. Get out. You still got to do homework. You probably have a night class depending on how many credits you're taking.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's rough, you know, and then you still have to
Um,
find time to sleep, and then, you know, you're trying to kick it with your friends too. So it's just a lot to deal with.
And I
Yeah.
bet it's even harder at the university level. Because I remember that, like, in high school, like, I was like, fuck, like, I have no free time at all to do anything.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah.
only imagine at a university level where it's, like, where take it more serious and people,
Yeah.
there's more coaches.
And it's harder because you really got to like be disciplined, you know, like if you really want to be successful like in anything, of course you have to be disciplined. But with school, like if you don't discipline yourself to like put time aside like for school and like to study and like to actually like take care of those things, like, bro, it's never gonna get done, literally.
But what about, like, you know, for example, you know, you have a lot of high school athletes that sometimes they don't go straight to a D1 university and they end up at some sort of like community college, D3 school, D2 school. So I mean, do you really think it's worth it for any of those athletes to continue to move on with their like pursuing that, you know, sports career? Because I mean, it's very competitive. So I mean, what are the chances of somebody actually moving on to a D1 school coming from like a community college? You know, what sort of things are they supposed to think about, what sort of work? Because they're competing against high school athletes at that point, because high school athletes are moving on to that D1 and they're at community college still.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's true. I mean, we definitely, depending on the athlete, like, we'll definitely, like, you know, be able to tell, like, what their caliber of athleticism is and, you know, kind of, like, help guide their route from there. But, I mean, we've had guys that have gone, like, you know, to a JUCO level. I actually had a guy who just, who left a local JUCO. I want to say it was, like, Santa Monica College. And he's on full ride at the University of Houston. So it's, like,
Oh, shit.
so,
That's fat.
and like he was like a sophomore, like gonna be a junior, like in the JUCO system, and like, so, you know, that's already like close to like where it's like your mark, like
Yeah.
it's either you're going on or like you're done, you know. So we promote it like at all levels. Like we try to tell kids like just chase greatness, like just want to be great, just like want to do all the little things right, like want to do everything that you can possibly do the best that you possibly can, because at the end of the day, like you're gonna get to wherever you're meant to be, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't push like, oh, D1 or bust. Like, no. It's like, you know, whatever journey that it is that God has planned for you, like, we're gonna walk that with you. You know, we're gonna help you, we're gonna guide you. And like, the good thing is having connections at multiple levels. You know, at the youth level, at the high school level, at the college level, like, because then you can really like I said, really guide kids and like really help them understand like, okay, well, this may not be my route, but it doesn't mean that I can't go to like a Division III school and still get an education and still get, you know, a degree and like and still be able to give back to my community and go and help people. And like I said earlier, like our biggest thing is like developing leaders. So that's like what we try to promote. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't go Division I, you could still, like I said, go D3, play ball for a year or two, and then, you know, end up being a leader in your community and, you know, building things that aren't there, you know, making things better.
In regards to giving kids that advice, what would you tell parents, just in general, about their kids?
Like what, like, are you saying like as far as?
Oh, so to specify more, if the parent thinks, oh, my kid is super good, you know, I think they should go the D1 route, or I think they should go play at a private high school that has a really good football team, basketball team, whatever it is, and you see the kid isn't at that level. What advice would you give the parents?
You know, I always tell people to be realistic. You know, like be realistic. Like, you know, if you're not one, you know, like physically gifted, like, okay, then, you know, you got to kind of like look at what your options are. But our biggest thing is just kind of like guiding people early. Like, we don't want to bring somebody in and promise like, oh, we're going to do this and this for you, and you're going to get these results and you're going to go here. Like, no, it's like, you're going to come in, you're going to get a fair assessment. We're going to tell you where you are, where you could be within the next 6 months to a year, depending on how hard you work. And then from there, we can continue to guide you. But we're not going to say, like, right off the bat, like, oh, yeah, you're going to go to this private high school and, like, you're going to play. Like, no, we just tell kids, like, look, if you're ready by the next season comes and you produce in the season, then we'll talk after. And we'll see, you know, what the next options are from there. But that's kind of, like, how we approach it. And, like, I think it's, like, a fair way of doing it, you know, because you don't know early on. Like, kids could get hurt, like, in the 8th grade, and they could be a crazy athlete, like, in the 6th grade, you know, like, you know, that's like Jesus, like my boy Jesus, like with this dude that I grew up with, and we played basketball at St. Benedict's, and he tore his like ACL like his 8th grade year. But man, I mean, dude was a crazy hooper. Like he's the best one like in our city, like for sure, against everybody. That's like all the homies, like he was a hooper. And like after that, like it set him back. I mean, he still played and he still bounced back, but you
Could
know,
have been a lot better.
Yeah.
So I mean, every athlete that you get or that just crosses your way, do you think that they all have the potential to make it, I guess, big, you know, move on to a bigger league, D1, move on potentially to the NFL, whatever their dreams and aspirations are? Do you really know that every athlete can make it, or how do you see that? What is your perspective on that?
I just think it like comes down to like work ethic and like, okay, well, like how committed is this kid? Like not only just a kid, but his parents too, you know, like, okay, are the parents committed to bringing them to practice every day? Like, are the parents like involved with their nutrition? Are they keeping up with their school? Like, you know, because it's so much more than just like just being a baller. You know, like especially like nowadays, like we took these kids to the Super Bowl experience like this past weekend right before the Super Bowl, and there was like a NFL alum that was there, and he was just like talking to people and, you know, like taking pictures and whatnot. And one of the things that he like highlighted when he was talking to the kids, he was like, look, he was like, the biggest thing that we look for is character. Like, you know, like we don't look for the best athlete. Like, sure, everybody in the NFL that's at the combine can run, you know, at least a 4.4, like 4.5, like, and everybody could jump, you know, 27, you know, whatever. Like, you know, so it's like, okay, well, what separates you? Like, are you going to be somebody of character on the team? Like, are you going to add value? Like, are you going to be a leader? Like, are you going to set the tempo at practice? And so that's kind of like what we tell them like early on, and like kind of focus on at a young level, so that way it kind of, you know, continues to develop as they get older and stuff like that. So I does that kind of answer like the question?
But so then when it comes to building character, building leadership, so what is your approach to build that in a young athlete, or at whatever age that you're dealing with? What is your approach? How do you do that?
Also, adding to that question, do you think it's one of the things you're kind of born with, or you can coach that to get someone there?
I think there's definitely natural born leaders, and you know that sets apart like the goods from the greats. Mm-hmm. You know, like for sure, there's natural born leaders, but I definitely think that you can teach leadership. I think that it's something that can be practiced. And to answer your question, one way that we develop leadership is just giving these kids a voice. like letting them lead the practice, you know, letting them lead the stretches, letting them work out on their own. Like I don't micromanage the kids when I train them. Like, of course I'm very detailed and we watch, you know, exactly what they're doing and stuff like that, but I'm not right there like in his face and like, you know, yelling at him and screaming at him. Like, we want to see how dedicated are you to your craft. Like, are you going to take all the reps seriously? Are you going to do slow and controlled? Like, are you going to do exactly what is needed to be done in order to perform at your peak that day? You know what I mean? And so like with leadership, it comes like they have to be leaders of themselves first. Like, if you can't lead yourself and you can't be disciplined in your actions and like what you're trying to do, like how can you turn around and lead somebody else? And that goes with saying like lead by example, right? Like, if I'm gonna do all the things right, like the dude next to me is probably gonna want to do them too, because then I'm gonna know he cheated, right? Like, if we have the same workout and you finish, you know, 10 minutes before me, like there's no way, you know, like it's programmed a certain way, like you cheated, you know. And then nothing's a competition, you know, when it comes to like working out, especially like with what we do. It's like very organized and very strategic, and very science-based. But with leadership, you know, I look up like leadership videos. Like, sometimes the kids will be working out in the gym and like I'll play like, you know, like a little motivational video of leadership. Or like today, for example, like there was an interview on Nick Saban, and he was just talking about how there was 3 kids on the team who didn't do all the things that they needed to do at practice during the season. And when it came time to the championship game, there happened to be, you know, 3 guys that were out. And those 3 guys couldn't fill those roles. Why? Because they weren't at practice, because they weren't committed. And, like, you're not going to get rewarded in the championship game for that. You know what I mean? And so I was showing the kids that video, and, like, they were just kind of like, wow, like, you know, it's like, it's interesting to think about like those things, especially as a youngin, because like then it really shapes their perspective, like, and it really kind of like shows them like, okay, I can do this, like this is something that like I can become. And like I think it just, like I said, it comes with practice.
When you were referring to we earlier, like were you speaking on like your coaching staff and group that you're at your high school, or the group that you have outside of that for the kids?
So it'd pretty much basically be like the group that we have outside of that for the kids. During quarantine, I had an awesome staff. I worked with a lot of great coaches, 2 of which that coach college ball, another one coaches high school ball, or 2 or 3 of them also coach high school ball. And so those were a couple guys that we had worked with during quarantine. And then moving out of quarantine, I had brought in like another staff and some more people, because they had better opportunities and stuff like that to go on and do stuff for coaching, you know, and that's awesome. So I was fortunate enough to be able to put together another staff, and we have like, you know, there's some like dad coaches that are out there that, you know, are just passionate about the game and just want to help, you know. And then there's other people right now that are on staff that do, you know, gym training or field training and whatnot. Like I have my friend Daniel Baez that I went to high school with, and he's starting to coach me now. And like he was a college athlete, he played rugby, won like a national championship and whatnot. So it's cool, you know, for the kids to see that like people from their area, like he went to Bosco Tech too, and he was from El Sereno. So it's like, okay, well, we get to see like somebody who comes straight from where we are, like do it at the big level and then come back and give back. And like I think he's a leader too, and like he's somebody that, like, you know, I've always been able to lean on, like, you know, for help and whatnot, and just somebody who's always been there. So that's what leadership's about.
So all that is through the nonprofit organization, right? Like that's how you give all this coaching, strength training, you know, skill training, all of that, right? That's completely separate from coaching at a high school, right?
Yeah, completely. Like it's totally separate. Like I actually just got to LaSalle High School. Like I officially like will be coaching there this year. I had split my time there last year with Cathedral High School, so I would do Cathedral High School in the morning and then LaSalle in the afternoon. So it was pretty cool. It was a good experience. I low-key got tired because it was a lot, and I was going to school at the same time.
Wait, LaSalle is like the Great LaSalle, like Division I LaSalle?
No, not De LaSalle.
Oh, that's De LaSalle.
That's a green school, and they're like more up north.
Oh, okay. But Cathedral's a really good school, man. You got fucking great kids that came out of there. Bryce Young, Alabama QB.
Yeah, literally.
You got a bunch of great heads that came out of Cathedral.
There was a lot of really good athletes that came out of there. Even when I was coaching there, I started coaching there back in I say it was like 2019 season.
Mm-hmm.
So like that first year, like the first kid that I happened to coach was like Chad Ocho's son, like Ocho Cinco.
Shit, really?
Yeah, like
Is someone Cathedral?
Yeah, so he was like, he had transferred there for his senior year and whatnot, and he was like committed to play like football at like ASU, and I mean it was a baller. Like it was cool, like, you know, bonding with that kid and just like learning about him and like who he was as a person. Like, cause people get caught up with like, oh, it's
The fame and all that.
his
Your
dad and
pops.
whatnot. But I mean, he's a great kid, and like he's come like to the house to like work out like during the summer and like on his off season and just keeping me updated with how he's doing. So it's awesome to see like success at every level.
Are there any athletes that you've coached or worked with that have made it to the Division I level, or at any like top universities right now in any sport you've done?
Yeah. So Bryson Reeves is a DB now. He played wide receiver and DB in the kick and punt return at St. Francis High School.
Mm-hmm.
He now plays at the University of Utah, and they just won the Pac-12 championship. So yeah, he's a really good athlete. Just worked with him like this past weekend.
They were in the Rose Bowl
at
this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he a starter, or I think just because he got to the team?
No, he would get in on special teams and whatnot. I don't think he played too much defense, but he got recruited over there at safety. And like special teams is a big that's a huge factor in the game. Like if you guys saw the playoffs this year, like like kickers are everything.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Punters
special
too, man.
teams, special teams is huge. But he's a great kid, great athlete. He's huge, like he's super fast. And, just tore it up his senior year. He had like 21 D1 offers, and
Oh damn.
yeah, and the University of Utah was like his best one. So, yeah.
Who do you feel that is someone that you look up to, or like someone that has influenced you like really heavy, that has, I would say like inspired you to become a coach or trainer?
To be like a coach or a trainer, to answer that like specifically, shoot.
Yeah, and also like, what kind of made you want to like just support the community in your whole neighborhood and provide those sort of services?
I would say like who motivated me. I would probably say like one of my coaches, Chris Ricks. He ran a local camp in Laverne when I was in high school, and like I would go practice with him like every Saturday or Sunday, and like it'd be like a 2-hour training session. So I actually learned kind of like what I do now from him, and so he was somebody who was a leader. He is a leader. He's like a pastor, and he's like a great communicator. Like he works for like Fox Sports, and like he's like a broadcaster and stuff like that. But he's just like a great family man, like a great leader. Like he gave me a lot of opportunities outside of the football field. Like even after I like played with him at the camp, and like after I was done, playing football, like he just continuously gave me opportunities. And just seeing him like what he did for the community, and like it was affordable, and like it was like faith based, and like I'm pretty religious, so for me it was like that was like a plus. So I guess you could say he like motivated me to want to give back and like just be a leader, and like that was something that he always like imposed on me. And just why did I want to give back? Bosco Tech wasn't like the best school at football, and like it was a small division school, but I cared. I cared. I wanted to get out. I wanted to play at the next level. Like I wanted to be great. And I wanted to see what it took to get there. And so, I didn't make it to the highest level, and, I wasn't the best ever. Like, I was, it was what it was, but I wanted to give kids an opportunity. I wanted them to see, like, man, I can do it. Like, oh, shoot, like, I can do it. Like, I have the will to do it. Like, I have the capability and, like, the connections. And, like, that was, like, the biggest thing is just, giving opportunities that I never had. And, like, I grew up without a pop. So for me, it was, like, okay, like, if I had a dad, maybe I would have knew a lot more about like sports growing up and like getting into it sooner and like recruiting and whatnot. So I figured, there's probably other kids out there in the community that, have single moms and, their aunts take care of them and stuff like that, so how are they gonna know, and so that's kind of where I come in and like, I provide the opportunity and like, just, educate people.
Yeah. It kind of seems like, because being in sports, and it's very competitive, and there's so many people you're literally competing against, everybody across the nation, and it kind of seems like resources really do matter a lot. It could either create opportunities, or it could like take away from a lot of opportunities. Because I mean, like in your case, how you said, you kind of had to stop playing football in high school because there just wasn't enough money. And I mean, some students can't even join like some sort of some camp or something because they don't have enough money. Probably they won't even have anything like somebody to actually take them to the camp or whatever. So I mean, it's really great that these services, like, it's completely free.
No, so we actually do like charge like a small fee, but like the fees basically go back to the kids. Like, so with like our tryouts when we had like the kids like who wanted to come out and compete for our team and like play for us and whatnot. Like the tryouts were free, like it was completely free. We even had like 2 sponsors, NutriShop from Monterey Park, and they came and provided hydration for all the kids. And then we had Chick-fil-A Monterey Park also sponsor us, and they gave us like 75 like chicken sandwiches and like 5 pounds of sauce. Like it was
Jesus.
so it's really cool. But
What's the name of your nonprofit organization?
Binary Exercise and Sports Training. So it stands for BEAST.
Oh, that's sick.
Binary.
Wait, one more time.
Binary Exercise and Sports Training. So what binary stands for is like 2 things pertaining to the same thing. So you have like yoga, Pilates, like weightlifting, speed training, sports training, all these different types of training all incorporated into one umbrella. You know what I mean? And so that's where like all that comes from, and sports training, which is like field training and soccer and basketball, football, whatever it is.
Are we gonna be hooked up with the free training lesson?
Yeah. You know what? I was actually gonna ask. So like, let's say, what's the age cutoff that for you to like train someone? Like, let's say, for example, let's say me. I'm like, I want to learn how to play football. Let's say not at a professional level, but I want to learn. I want to learn how to catch a ball. I want to learn how to, the sport. Is there people or are there people like? Do you get people like that basically? And if you do, like, do you kind of like just push them off? Do you try to focus on like the little younger kids? Like to try to like develop them, or
no? So like from like an adult level, not really. I haven't really had too many people like approach me like, oh hey, can you train me? Like
I'll be the first.
But
get your old ass out of here.
No, but I don't really focus like too much on the kids. It's like mostly like just whoever comes. So when it comes to like fitness training and whatnot, like the other stuff that I do, I've worked with like tons of people like from a crazy different amount of ages, like probably all the way up until like I'd probably say like 58 or something like that.
58?
Yeah, I trained my aunt.
But like training, right? Like weights and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And it's like everything's like designed, to like the person and like their body type.
Yeah. It's more like of a fitness thing, like you get fit type
exactly,
shit.
Yeah. So there's like, it's just like I said, it's like a whole umbrella. It's just like a wide variety of things that like I do. And like I don't really want to like be boxed into anything. I don't want to just be like, oh, he's just a football coach, or like, oh, he's just like a gym owner. Like, no, I can't be boxed in. Like I'm trying to do everything. So it's like, I think if you limit yourself to what you can do, then like you're doing it to yourself. But if you really like tell yourself like, no, I could do this and I could do that, and if you're willing to take the time to do the things necessary to be able to do all those things, I mean, like why not? It's like
you said, my bad. You said it was very science based, right? So like, who's kind of doing your whole research and everything to make it science and make it valid?
So me. So like, well, with the studying and like the schooling that I've got through the University of Laverne, like that gives it, like validation and
credibility.
Yeah, exactly. And once I get my degree, like at the end of the year, then like it'll like definitely be set in stone. Like, okay, this dude is like educated. Like, he got a degree and like went to school for a while. So that would definitely up my credibility. But I've gotten like different like football training certifications. I've been like CPR certified and like just different stuff that you have to get like through the high schools and stuff like that. So that's another thing that I do too. That's like credible. Is like, okay, like he does like football coaching like at high school. So you wouldn't get hired at a local high school like if you didn't know. I mean, there are some coaches out there that do get hired that don't know what they're talking about, but. No, like
for the vast majority, it's not like that.
Yeah, you have to have some type of knowledge and like some type of credibility. And then just
resume
years.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like years of experience too. Like I said, I started when I was 18, so like we're like that's like 4 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 going on 5 years.
Are you consistently doing research all the time though?
Oh yeah, like me and myself, like personally, like yeah, I mean like even Brian too, like Brian's helped me, like he's sent me like articles and like he sent me like stuff, like he would come like work out at the gym like during COVID, and like we would always just be like we'd work out together, like he would just like teach me like about CNS and like just everything, like just like teaching me about like powerlifting and just getting bigger, and like I mean I'm not the biggest person, I'm like definitely not the most like fit person anymore, but the brain is the strongest muscle, and like I definitely exercise it every day. I try to give myself something like a new challenge, something new to learn. And then the other thing too, like I said, is experience, like looking at the kids and like giving them the training programs. Like they're about to end their 6-week training cycle this week. So they're gonna start a new one, and just looking at the results that they had at the beginning and like what they're about to end with is we'll definitely see like numbers, you know, and then kind of from there it's like, okay, well this is like evidence based. All right, so like this worked for this kid, this didn't work for this kid. Like now this is what we need to do right here for the next 6 months, the next 6 weeks, and then you know kind of periodize it and like just kind of continue to grow and like build a database and you know.
Have you ever worked with a coach that didn't know anything, that had no resume, that didn't even know what they were talking about?
Man, I don't even want to put nobody down, but yeah, bro, it's like
You're not gonna give no names.
no, definitely not. No,
Tell the names. Tell the names.
I'm like, oh, it was this
Tell the
fool,
names. Look at the camera.
this fool.
What
No.
school?
Don't hire him.
I definitely have though. Yeah, it's rough. Honestly, it's rough. But I mean, it's cool, you know, because you gotta learn. You know, you gotta learn how to work with different
how did they
people.
even get the job? Where was this at, if you don't mind me asking?
Was this like at high schools for coaching, or was this like?
Say the name. Say the name of the high school.
Don't say names.
A few moments later.
Probably
People
was
who
like
play football, like
strength
people who
or
play
offensive.
sports, can't really like coach it. Like,
Yeah.
Literally, like fuck no. I wasn't really good at sports. That's why I could coach it.
Wait, so you
How
don't
do you-
think?
yeah, good,
Yeah,
good.
so you don't think that if you're good at a sport, you could actually coach it? Like,
I mean, in most
yeah.
cases, a lot of people say no.
It's
Like,
because usually the masterminds are people who played sports but weren't the best at them, and
Yeah.
like knew everything behind the scenes of how to run shit.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, run shit as far as like for yourself, like teaching yourself.
Yeah,
Like, you have to
I was
like.
gonna say that. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they get coach. So in his case, maybe for a football player, a wide receiver that was a sick ass wide receiver, he could coach another wide receiver. But I don't know about coaching a whole team. That's my take. You agree?
Yeah, kind of.
Something like that.
So like I guess like what you can say is like most people who are athletic, like that are athletically gifted, like can play and like just have like natural reaction, like they get it quicker, right? Like it doesn't
Yeah.
take them longer to process it. Whereas like somebody who is not as athletically gifted and like doesn't have as much reaction time, like then they're gonna have to study the game more. They're gonna have to like study the process more, like how things are actually done instead of just being able to like kind of like just play, like like that's like Cooper Cup, like literally like the Super Bowl MVP,
fucking
triple
goat.
count, like
Fucking go. I
like
love
he's
Cooper Kupp.
like he's goated, but like the thing about Cooper Cup is you could put him in any system and he'd thrive, and that's because like
He's
if you give
mechanically
him
sound.
not even just that, it's just like he knows how to read like defenses
yeah.
and like I know that they give him a lot of the choice routes because based off of the DB's leverage and whatever coverage they're in, he's gonna get open exactly, and like that's why he's so dominant.
Yeah, man.
Who's your favorite football player all time?
All time.
All time.
Sheesh.
And then currently too.
Currently, yeah, OBJ for sure. That's
Oh,
my
really?
guy.
OBJ?
Odell Beckham,
Fuck,
bro.
man. Praise up to that guy. Another torn
Honestly,
ACL.
Literally.
Wait, why though?
Why OBJ?
Yeah, why?
Just for like his work ethic, like his passion for the game. Like I just think he's like, I think he sets the example for wanting better, like and wanting better for people around you, like because like you couldn't thrive at the Browns, you didn't really thrive, like and he thrived in the Giants, but like he didn't have like a team around him, he didn't have like people that were around him that wanted to be great, and like so. I think just like showing his passion and like once he really got the opportunity to like be around people that wanted to
Like
win,
a winning culture.
yeah, then it was like it showed that like this is my passion for the game, and like obviously people go through like times of like immaturity and like people make mistakes, like so I'm not gonna say like he's perfect or whatever, but I just think that like with his passion, like his style of play, like just everything, like swagger, like that's like a big part of football, and like I think it's cool for like kids to see that, it's like him expressing himself. All time though, fuck, I don't know. That's tough.
Or do you have a tie?
Top
Two
three or
people,
top
three
three?
people?
Top two.
Football player? Sheesh. I don't even top 3 football players. Damn.
Top of your head.
I know. I'm trying to think. Lamar Jackson came to my mind.
Oh, really? Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, but I mean that's like that's
All
like
time,
right now.
though?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's.
What about Bo
all
Jackson?
time. Yeesh.
I think maybe a better question would be like right now, because if you like go back to like all time, your mind has to work a lot.
Yeah, like
you could say
the
your
first person that came to mind was like Kobe, but I'm like, fuck,
Yeah,
it's
who's
not
your favorite basketball player?
Yeah,
All
Kobe,
time.
like,
That's my
yeah,
boy
for
Misha.
sure.
Kobe
Yeah.
too.
R.I.P.
Shout out
Kobe.
R.I.P. Kobe.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
But all right, so my question is, there's that saying, hard work beats talent. Do you think that's true? Like how much talent do you really need, and like how much hard work do you need in order to beat that talent? Because you keep saying like some athletes are just born naturally gifted at playing a sport, But can a hard worker really surpass that natural talent? You know.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, to Cooper Cup's fact, like, you know, he's not like the tallest, like he's definitely not the fastest, like, you know. So
Not even the biggest.
yeah, exactly. You know, but with knowledge and with understanding the game and like studying and learning and like putting yourself in the right position consistently, like, you know, that beats talent. Like, I think OBJ is probably more talented than Cooper Cup, but Cooper Cup, one, has been in the system longer, so he understands it more. And then two, like I said, they give him the choice. I personally think they give him a lot of the choice routes, so that gets him open, you know, 9 out of 10 times.
You know what kind of like suits that answer to as well? Like, you know that interview where they asked him like the post game, like, oh, like,
Yeah.
and he gives like the complicated answer of like
Yeah,
reading the coverage
yeah.
and the defense, and if he did that, he'd break it off and all that.
Exactly.
Such a he could answer like, oh, if he went back, I just cut in, and he gave such a complex, like he knows what he's studying and he knows his craft.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
T.
And
Like-
I think like football, especially like as you level up, it's all about watching film. Like, you know, you got to study, you got to learn, you got to watch it, you got to watch your opponent study like what they do wrong. Like, you know, Tom Brady was in the league for so long, like he played everybody like, you know, 20,000 times. Like you see them,
Fuck that
you see them every
motherfucker.
year. You know, it's like
That
you know
motherfucker's
what
the
their
GOAT.
tendencies are. You know what they're looking to do. Like, you know, and so I'm pretty sure, like, you know, just to that fact, it's like, yeah.
Do you think you should watch film for all sports that
100%.
are individual, like track, all the track events? Do you think you should watch film for yourself, even if it's not on the whole team?
No, yeah, like so that's like a whole part of like the sports training that like we do like at Beast. We focus on like filming certain things so that you could look. Like you need to be able to like see it because there's kids that don't learn by doing. Like they learn by visuals, you know, and like they learn by audios. Like there's there's like different learners, so you know you got to attack all of them. So yeah, for sure, like watching film, like just seeing how your body moves and how it's supposed to move, and like just like watching yourself make mistakes, like that, bro. That helps kids like tremendously, and like, you know, I think that's a huge factor.
Do you think that all the coaching you've done so far carries on with all the kids and all the athletes that you've coached within themselves and the rest of their life? Do you think it's going to carry on with them forever?
Honestly, yeah, I really do. I really do, because actually I just had a kid.
I think so. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
I think you do a
appreciate you.
really
Yeah.
good job coaching, bro.
I think you're great too. You know, I love you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
But no, my boy Noah Vila, he started out training with me when I was in high school. So I used to help one of my coaches like build up his like sports training organization. And I met Noah through him, and Noah would like come to the trainings and like we work out together. And then as I like got into college and stuff like that, like I would teach him what I was learning in college. And he would just train. And he had a rough time coming out of high school. Like he wasn't really highly recruited, but he actually just signed like a NAI scholarship to go play somewhere in like Kansas, I think. But I mean, he's like some kid, you know, who didn't give up, who really like has taken on a leadership role. Like he's somebody who's like a part of the staff that's come back and like help the kids like training and like working them out in the gym and whatnot. So I definitely think it like carries over, and I think just seeing like success of other kids and like it, you know, they're kind of like if you don't listen to me, right, like say you're like, oh no, I don't really like, I don't think what you're gonna like what you say is like working, but like these 3 kids, like it worked perfectly for them, you're gonna be like, wait, hold on, I'm like, okay, maybe I should like, you know, kind of pay attention a little bit. And you know, I mean, that's with anything in life. I think once you see like,
I was just about to ask that.
yeah, I think once you see like people like that you're surrounded with like leveling up, like it should automatically, you know, like motivate you to level up. Like, and I think nowadays, like in society or just society in general, like people see other people successful and it's just like, oh no, like I need to be there. Like I need to be successful.
I was going to ask that. Do you think social media has been a positive impact or a negative impact in regards to all sorts of youth sports? You think it's helped it? It's bad? Because I know there's a lot of kids that compare themselves. They'll be 10, 11 years old and they're comparing themselves to a kid who is all super athletic at that age, you know? Do you think it's good, bad?
I think it's like a tool, right? So it could be used for good or it could be used for bad. I think in the sense of like influencing kids, I think it's slightly turning more bad than it was good. Like at the beginning, it was more so of like dads like recording the kid like scoring a touchdown, you know, like the local park, and like, oh, I'll put it on Instagram, like that way people can see it, and like, you know, the local high school coach will see it. But now it's like more of like, oh, like we're at a game and I'm trying to embarrass this kid and I'm gonna do some dumb shit to like go viral, and it's like it's like what's the point of that? You know, it's like not really football. Like it's like disrespectful like to the game itself. You know, it's like, okay, like.
How do you feel about coaches? Because I know I've seen a lot of them on Instagram and I don't agree with anything, right? So how do you feel about coaches that put out fake news, fake stuff about human anatomy and how the body works, and just a bunch of fake stuff just to get views, just to get clout? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it's interesting. I really think it's interesting. Like, I try not to let, like, things like that affect me, because early on I did. I was like, damn, I'm like this youngin' trying to make it, and like there's these people out here that are just like doing bullshit. But after a while, I was like, okay, that's not gonna help me like progress, you know. But honestly, I think it's interesting. Like, you're really like trying to serve people like wrong knowledge, and like just for what, like, you know, for your own personal, like, you know, your own personal gain. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, you're one, taking money, like two, like you're like misguiding people, and like, you don't know what you're doing right now, like the long-term effects of it, like you know, like nobody does. So
Wrong knowledge in like what's an example like of something like that'll, like, for example, what you're talking about, that they say like to try to make them like blow up and go viral and
I
stuff
think
like that.
just like misleading kids, like I mean, there's been like coaches that like you know, like fake offers, or like tell a kid like, oh, you're Division 1, like you should, like you can play, like come train with me, like we'll send you to the next level, like we got hella connections, and you know, we're gonna do this and that.
Yeah,
for
So
you.
like gassing them up in a
know,
way,
like,
lying to them.
And then they don't even like follow through with that, and then, you know, the kid's like a junior, and now he's like coming to me and he's like, hey, you know, what do I do? And it's just like, yeah, bro, you're not the first one, so like, you know, let's get started, like let's make some
That's
shit
fucked
happen.
up, man.
That is
Damn.
fucked up.
Do you think that you have great like communication skills, or like people skills? Because, you know, you keep mentioning like for this nonprofit organization, like you have your own, you know, sort of connections. You know, you kind of bring people along that, you know, that'll help you with the business and stuff. So you personally, do you feel like you have good communication skills?
Yeah. Growing up, like I was like
Introvert?
no,
Extrovert?
extrovert. Yeah.
Oh.
Like I was really extroverted. Like I was really outgoing. Like I was never really shy.
Yeah, this guy was a nut.
Really?
I
He was an animal.
I didn't have like younger siblings, so like I kind of like grew up by myself. And my older siblings were like 10 years older than me, right? Like my
Oh, that's a
sister's like
big ass
10
gap.
years old.
Damn.
Yeah, so like imagine like, you know, like an 8-year-old talking to like some 18-year-olds, like you know, so like, and just like adults in general. Like my parents aren't like the youngest, you know, so I just kind of like learned early on how to like navigate through that like world, and like how to speak to adults, and like how to speak properly, and you know, stuff like that. And I was like a lecturer, like church, like I used to like read on Sundays and stuff like that. So like for me, all that stuff was cool, you know, like it was like an experience, and like I liked it. But I think from like a communication and like a leadership perspective, like I've definitely like improved a lot, you know, and like I think that was like my biggest thing, like coming out of like quarantine, and like as I've been like growing and maturing, like, okay, how can I be a better communicator? Like how can I be more informative? Like how can I like lead people better? And like I said, it's all about action, and like you could say things, but it's also about backing them up.
How much would you say confidence goes into coaching? Because I remember I'd be around some coaches where they didn't have confidence, and kids would just run you over. Like they won't pay attention to you.
Yeah.
They'll just look over you. They'll see right through you.
That's big time, bro. That's big time. I mean, because like with anything in life, like you should be confident, you know, and like I think people who don't like, I think people who don't like reinforce confidence are like insecure within themselves, and like, you know, they have their own problems to deal with, and it's like, bro, like don't like let that belittle, you know, somebody else. And so with like coaching, like I said, there's like a thin line between like being confident, like, and cockiness, like especially like in this industry, it's like very like ego driven. But confidence is key, bro. Like if you don't know what you're talking about, and if you can't really like explain it and like, you know, speak in your normal voice, and it's like, okay, well, you know, who is this guy? Like, is he really who he says he is? Like, you know, and like that was my biggest thing. Like when I first started coaching, it was like, okay, like if I'm gonna do it, like I need to be serious about this. Like I need to have like the right terminology. Like I need to be able to like communicate, like not even just like about like the science and just like the sports, but like, you know, like setting appointments, like scheduling like business, and like talking with people on the phone. Like, you know, you put your phone on social media, your phone number on social media, like people are gonna call you, like you're gonna get some clients, like, oh, hello, like is this like, you know, Coach Arthur, is this Coach A? Like, so, you know, you can't just be like, oh, like when I first would answer the phone, I'd be like, what's up? Like, you know, like I was like, you know, just like some head ass shit, and like, you know, that was just like who I was, like 18, you know, 19 years old, and like, and parents would be like, oh, like hello, like is this like Coach Arthur? Like, oh yes, you know, hi, how are you doing? Like, you know, like real quick switch over. But no, I think it's a big deal, bro. You know, I think it's confidence is key, and just, you know, with anything in life, you know, you're never gonna get where you want to be unless you're confident.
Jesus.
So you said you were 22. Do you think that with your age, when other adults have approached you or like certain opportunities or whatever, do you think that some of those opportunities have been lost because of your age? Because you are kind of young, so you go to someone that's older. You kind of ask them like, hey, you want to work with us? We got this going on, blah blah blah, and they kind of like, nah, because you're younger. Like, why would we want to
Have
work
they
with
ever
you?
shunned you?
Yeah. Have you ever like missed opportunities, or have you ever gotten shot down?
Have
because
you
of
ever
that?
been discouraged type of thing?
No, like just shut down in
Just,
general,
like,
like,
yeah.
Oh.
like
No.
like no, we're not gonna work with you simply because of your age.
Well, what's funny is that I had actually like applied to be a head coach. Like I think I was like 19 years old. Like it was like
At
a
a
year
high school?
after I started coaching. Like no, after like I started Beast and like I became like Coach A, like Coach Arthur. I had like applied to be the head coach at Bosco Tech. Like I mean they weren't doing good at the time, and so I was like, okay, like this might be like my entry opportunity. Like I'm already running this business. Like I've already built clientele. So like I kind of like knew the system. So I literally put together like a whole resume. Like I bought like a whole suit. Like I did like a PowerPoint presentation of like who I was gonna hire.
Oh,
Because like I
shit.
said, I took the football class with my coach at the University of Laverne. Like teaching you how to be a coach and whatnot. So at the end of the class, like we actually had to build a PowerPoint and a resume, like if we were to go interview to be a head coach. So it kind of like inspired me, like, all right, well, look, I'm already doing this, like, like I'm already being educated. So, like they're not doing good anyway. So, what, why not? Why not take a shot? Like, that's why I'm saying like confidence is like crazy, it's just like
What they say to you?
So I actually like went and, like my principal interviewed me, and it's funny, because it was my principal, and he's just like, oh yeah, like I see that you were like well prepared for this, like we're gonna give you a call back, and like so like the AD called me, and like he like asked me, he was like, oh, how are you gonna do fundraising and like blah blah, and I was like, okay, well, like this is my experience with like the nonprofit with like fundraising and whoop-de-woo, and like so this is what like principles I'm gonna apply and like the things that I'm gonna do. And then after that, I didn't get a call back, and like they hired another head coach. But I mean, it's cool, like I think I've gotten a lot better other opportunities besides that. But I was like I'm pretty sure I was like the youngest like guy to ever like apply for like a head
You're
coaching
at a high
job,
school and be a fucking head coach.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of balls,
Yeah, it
bro.
does,
That takes a lot of
honestly.
fucking
Yeah.
balls too.
Confidence.
Hell yeah.
Because being a head coach would take up a lot of fucking time too,
That's
man.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, my biggest thing is like, because I want to coach in the NFL, right? And like my goal is like to get there before like I'm 30, because I'm like, all right, well, by the time I'm 30, right, like I'll probably already have a family. Like the life expectancy will probably be like a little bit longer. So I won't really have to be like pressured to like have kids like early on.
The whole thing with being like a coach in the NFL, though, there's really no age limit to it. Like you could be you could be like 50.
Yeah, some of those
you
fools
could be,
are old.
You could be pretty old.
Yeah.
Like to be more on the younger side would be more like a rarity.
It is, yeah.
Like,
and like Sean McVay.
The child about to mention Sean McVay was like what? How old was he when he got hired? Like 31?
No. He was. I think he was like 30 when he got hired as like a head coach.
Was he the
but-
youngest head coach ever to be
Yeah,
hired?
he was.
He was, right?
Yeah.
And then this past Super Bowl was the two youngest head coaches to ever go at it in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Because Sean McVay was what, like 33?
Now he is, something
see,
like that.
33 and coaching fucking.
And he was like in the league, like coaching at like 24 though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
What
like a
the hell?
position coach. Like I want to say it was like.
I know he was
what
at a
it
university, right?
For? I was for the Redskins. That's who it was for.
Oh.
Before that too, yeah, it was like it was
Shout
at a
out, Dom.
university. Nah,
No?
kill it. I'm a Cowboys fan. You know the deal. So kill it. Redskins. So. Well, shout out my boy Dom. Dom Buckets.
Yeah, just Dom Buckets.
Yeah,
Shout out
he's
Dom
a
Buckets.
real one.
Shout out Dom
Down
Buckets.
bucket.
What was I gonna
Wait,
ask?
so how would you even get to that level though? Like NFL, that's already professional. That's
Yeah.
highest of highest. You're 22 right now. You're talking about this coach being 24. So I mean, I don't know if you know anybody else that has gone on, like anyone around you that has gone on to like an NFL coaching position. Maybe not as a head coach. But yeah, how would you tackle that?
So, first and foremost, definitely like finishing school. Like that's my main priority right now is like get school done. Like obviously I want to have a degree, like I said, for credibility and like to be able to say like, this is something that I'm passionate about and like, took the time to work on. But coaching at Cathedral High School last year, I moved on to, again, like I said, LaSalle High School in Pasadena. And the head coach there, Ben Baez, I mean, he's an awesome dude. Like he's great. Like he's phenomenal. He's coached college ball for I want to say like 11 years. Like for those like 9 of those 11 years, he was like a champion, like conference champions at APU. Like this is when they were like back to back champions. Like they just had like a crazy run. So he has a lot of like connections at the Division I level and like just like a whole bunch of people and like a huge network that he knows. And actually one of the football coaches that was at LaSalle prior to me being there like 2-3 years ago got hired directly to the Seahawks.
No way.
Yeah,
Damn.
straight up. And he's like a
From
position
LaSalle?
coach. Yeah, from LaSalle
LaSalle
High
to
School
the Seahawks.
straight to Seattle Seahawks.
How does that even work?
Bro, honestly,
How old was the guy?
networking. Honestly, I don't know. I barely
That's
know.
fucking
his
weird,
name.
Yeah,
though.
how do you even
They
apply
go-
for
they
like
go from
positions like
they
that?
go- What?
Yeah, how do you even apply for like positions like that?
I mean, like they're just like any other job application. Like you could apply for any job in the NFL. Like if you want to be like a marketing manager, like one of the coaches that used to coach for Beast, like during quarantine, Shane Vernerlich, he coaches college ball at Citrus, but he also works for the Rams. He's like he works with like the
Shit.
marketing and like with the marketing team and stuff like that. And like he was at the Super Bowl. He was on the field. Like my boy, like he's a Super Bowl champ. Like he's a part of the organization. Like that's awesome. Like
What
you know.
exactly does he do on the Seahawks, though?
The dude from the cell,
Yeah.
that person, that I really don't know. I don't know him like personally, but I know like the coach, like I know that he went there because like the coach told me and like the players were talking about it and like I mean I've seen pictures and whatnot. And,
How old is the guy?
honestly, probably like younger than 35. He looks pretty young, honestly.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. Because that's fucking rare. You don't go from like a high school to the NFL level like that.
Yeah.
Usually they'll look at like Division 1 schools or even like D3 schools.
No, for sure.
To go from like a local high school to fucking the NFL, that's kind of rare.
The
I've never
biggest
heard
thing,
of that.
the biggest thing I've learned in life is like it's not really about like what you know, it's about who you know. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
also
that is
networking
fucking
true.
huge,
That is very
you
true.
know, like if you know like the head coach of the team, like your chances of getting hired before
Yeah.
there's somebody else.
So
like,
how do
is
you
way higher.
how do you network and how do you build these sort of connections with these people? Genuine connections that could actually help you out, like these sort of relationships from your perspective, and what have you done?
Honestly, like I was just gonna say, like you hit the nail on the head. It's just being genuine. It's just being real. Like just speaking facts and just being vulnerable too. Like letting people know, like what your goals and what your aspirations are, and like the struggles that you've been through. Because you never know like who's gonna relate to you, and so that's like an easy way of just like networking and like building connections. And it's obviously about staying consistent. Like I'm not gonna meet you and then be like, all right, like not hit you up for like 6 months and then be like, hey, yo, David, like what's up, bro? Can I get like can I get this favored? Like, can you put my name in? Like, like what's the point of doing that? Like that's just using people and like trying to step on people. So my biggest thing is just consistency and just trying to like learn from like the people that I've come in contact with. Like I said, Brian has been my friend, since we were like freshmen in high school, and like he's been around me since forever, and like he's somebody who wants to be successful, and like those are the people you surround yourself with, and like he's taught me stuff, and like I've definitely taught him stuff, and here we are doing this podcast.
Shout out
so.
B.
How did you guys meet each other?
I was about to ask that. Like, how do you?
Playing basketball, I think we were hooping like at a park.
Yeah, playing
and then
basketball.
Like the runs and you just
Commerce,
say what's up
yeah.
every week.
We had mutual friends too.
Was this at Rosewood?
It was Rosewood, yeah.
Fucking right. I still hoop there, Loki.
No, yeah,
Wait,
but that was pretty much it. Like we had, like you said, you had mutual friends like Dom, like Ian, like
Bro, Ian's still there too. Ian
Yeah,
still
yeah.
be hooping. Barrios too. Juan
Barros,
Barrios.
yeah,
Fuck,
Barros.
that's funny.
Fucking borrow.
This one needs a ball again. You need to come
Hey,
out of
bro, how
retirement.
come you don't
Mr.
ball?
Big Shaq over here.
Yeah, he can't run though. He's fucking too swole.
Hey, bro,
Big
just
ol'
give him the
late.
ball to
Happens.
paint. This motherfucker him.
Big ol' lays.
What was I
For
gonna
real.
say? I had a question. Oh, bro, what's your favorite memory overall as a coach so far in your
Oh.
career?
Sheesh, my favorite memory as a coach so far. Ooh, okay, bet. Probably winning my first 7-on-7 tournament. 7-on-7 is like, it's like flag football, but it's like without the flags and without like the linemen. It's just all passing game. And I actually won my first 7-on-7 tournament when I was 18.
Wait,
So-
you were coaching it yourself?
Yeah, so I had like built a team of beasts like when I was like 18. Like it was like we had started it in like December of 20, I want to say 18 or
And
something.
this
like
was
that.
all high school shit?
Yeah, it was high school and youth. So we had a bunch of like 14-year-olds that were playing, and we went to this tournament at St. Paul High School, and we won in triple overtime. And that was
Ooh,
like
shit.
that was the first tournament I coached and the first tournament I ever won. So like it was like the first like in one day like.
You were like play
Damn.
caller as well and everything?
Yeah, well, I call the offense for like all like most of the teams that like we've put together. I've had other guys as well, but for that team specifically, like I was calling the plays, and then one of the kids' dads was calling the defense. And like I said, we went in triple overtime. Like a lot of those kids like have gone on and like have been like super successful. But winning that day, really like motivated me and really kind of like was like reassurance. Like, all right, bet like this is something I could do. Like, and it's just like carried me like to continue to like remember why I started and like why I do it.
Yeah.
Because like those first kids that I worked with were like amazing, bro. And like I'm telling you, like 3 of them were like CIF champions this year. Like one of them
Shit.
just signed to go play at Northern Arizona University. Another one went to go sign to go play at the University of Nevada. So you know, like these kids were just, you know, they were
How
like
does it
small
feel?
SGV kids.
How
That
does
feels
it feel?
amazing, bro. Like it feels amazing for them. You know, I'm just happy for them, and it's like it feels good to be a part of their journey. Like, you know, I can't lie. I'm not just gonna be like, oh no, it's like I'm not a part of it. Like, no, you know, we do play a role as a coach. You know, you motivate the kid. You kind
For
of
damn
a little
sure.
bit of a mentor, and you know, just teaching them like the aspects of the game. So you know, at the end of the day, like it kind of made me feel like, all right, I am doing this right. Like I am on the right path, and I'm not just selling bullshit to people. You know,
Yeah.
like what I know is valid. Like it works. Like it's continuously like being successful. You know, and so it's constantly what motivates me, and also just like, you know, seeing the kids work hard for what they want, and like that motivates me as well, because it's like, damn, like you're giving everything you got, so I got to give you everything I got. You know.
So you said you were a high school coach, right? I remember when I used to play sports in high school, there were so many guys that just shouldn't have been on the team, like just skills wise, character wise, you know. And a lot of the times they didn't get cut, you know. And over the years, I mean, a lot of school districts have you know, stop from cutting students off of teams, you know, because it kind of made them feel like, oh, like they weren't like good enough or whatever, you know. And a lot of these schools have given like, you know, participatory awards, you know. How do you feel about that? Do you really think that's allowing kids to actually be, you know, are you really keeping it real with the kids when you're just allowing them to participate when they really shouldn't be on the team?
What school was this?
Yeah,
It was on the news.
Yeah, I've
Yeah, it
never
was on
heard
the
about
news.
this in my Really?
life.
Yeah, it was on the news.
I've
It
never
was
heard
on the
about
news
this.
that certain schools weren't allowing sports teams to cut their
What
the
kind of
athletes.
sports?
I mean,
Like
kind of
any
sports?
sports though, because I can relate
Any
to that.
select-
Like my
any
freshman year
sports.
of football, there was a bunch of kids that
Yeah.
should not have been on the team.
but that's freshman year though. No, doesn't everyone get accepted to freshman year football?
well, no one really gets cut from a team.
Yeah.
Like if we think about it, like unless you're like a really good Division 1, Division 3 type school, like if you go to like a public school anywhere, you're not gonna get cut. Like as long as you show up to practice and do, not even show up every time. Like for the most part, you're just gonna stay.
Are you
Yeah.
saying like cut or like make it onto the team?
No, like I mean, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
cut,
it's the
make
same
it
thing.
onto the team. It's the same
Not
thing.
everyone makes it onto
Because the
like,
only one that I know of that probably won't ever cut you is cross country.
Look, I don't remember. I don't
Track.
remember. I don't remember.
Individual sports.
I don't remember specifically what were the schools that were doing this, but a lot of schools have banned students, like athletes, from being cut or like not making it on the team because it has made these students feel bad about themselves.
damn.
Do you-
I wish I was in high school.
Really?
Around that
Yeah,
time.
no, that was on the news, for real. Yeah, it was on
Would have
the
been
news.
on every sport,
Yeah.
varsity,
I feel like that's
everything.
probably more like towards like the big roster teams. Like, the only one I could think is probably like football, because basketball you need only a certain amount of
15.
guys. Yeah, you guys
15.
only need 15 heads. Like for football, you can have an endless amount. Think
Yeah.
about it.
I remember like,
Like, you just
boarding
never
schools.
Yeah, you just never play.
Yeah.
Remember like boarding schools? Because I know I had a cousin that he went to like a boarding school, and he told me that everyone played in that school. Like you didn't really have to have like some sort of like, I'm not saying like a skill, but it's kind of like they paid to go to that school.
So
you
you're
know?
on the team regardless.
You're on the team. Yeah,
It's
they
like
pay.
playing
I
Division
think
III
it was like
football.
50 bands that they pay a year to go to that school.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming.
No, but I think just to answer like your question, I think it's really good for the kids. Like I don't advocate for participation awards. I'm gonna say that right now. Like I don't think kids should be given like participation awards unless like you completed something. Like but just to like
Just to show up.
just be on the team and say like, oh, we went like, 1-9, like here's your participation award. Like, no, I'm cool. I don't really need that,
Yeah.
But I think to the fact of like not cutting kids, I think that's like awesome. Like I try not to turn away kids with beasts, and like sometimes it's hard because we don't have like the things that they need and like to offer them. So again, like I said, we won't take their money, but I just think in general, like cutting kids, like we all live different lives, like all 5 of us, right? Like
Right.
we at the end of the day, like when we all got out of school, like we all did something different. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
some of those things like may not have been like the best thing like for our future. You know what I mean? Like that's just being truthful, and like there's kids in high school that are going through that, and it's like if you take away sports, like what are they gonna have to do
Mhm.
after they get out of school? Like
Mhm.
and then
Yeah,
what
I
are you
agree.
gonna be doing?
100%.
Like you're gonna be hanging out with your friends like on the hill, like doing again, like I said, something you're not supposed to be doing. You're gonna be at some girl's house, when her parents are home. Like like there's a lot of things that kids could get involved in, and it's
Yeah.
like sports is like an outlet. It's like an
Keeps you out of trouble,
opportunity.
keeps you
Yeah,
busy.
exactly. And I think like as a coach, like You got to understand, like, you're not just coaching like the sport. You know, that's why I talk a lot about character and leadership development, because it's like you're teaching people how to be better people. You know, and it's like if we had a kid who was in juvie like just like 6 months ago, and like 6 months prior to that he was playing for Beast, but when Beast ended, he didn't have anything to do, and so he was hanging out with his friends at like a local park in like La Puente, and like he got ran up on, and like the dude was like, look, bro, like if you don't, like, he's like 12, you know, he's like a little kid, so he's like, if you don't like come with me to rob these people, like, you know, you're like, you know, I mean, I'm gonna shoot you and your friend, like. And like, yeah, it's like straight up, bro. Like, there's a real story. Like, this really just happened. And so like, this kid got out of juvie, and like he came straight to me, and like I knew his brother. Like, we played in an all-star game together, and like his brother helps me coach, and like he's a great person. Like he's phenomenal. But the kid came back to me and was like, look, coach, like, you know, I made a mistake. Like, and he just caught up with being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, you know, he's not even like that. Like, he's not one of those kids that's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm a gangbanger, like I do this and that, whoop-de-whoop. Like, no, like he just happened to be walking through the park, saw somebody who was about that, and then, you know, you're faced with a life or death situation. Like, I'm gonna shoot you. Like, bro, what? Like, okay, of course I'm gonna go with you. Like, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Like,
Damn,
you
that's
know?
a scary
So-
situation.
Die.
Imagine getting pulled up
exactly.
on at a park at like 9 o'clock at night. Remember when we were
You
over
mean
there?
at midnight? You
At
did McDonald's
midnight,
in a
yeah.
G37.
Oh
Sport?
yeah, I
Was it?
remember hearing about that. When you got,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
I
was
remember.
crazy.
Yeah,
You did
yeah,
tell him?
yeah.
I think
I
told
hung
him.
out with you like the day after it happened. We hung out at the same park, like literally the next day.
By his house?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
went there?
I wasn't there that night, but I went there the next day. I don't know why.
What
There was
the
a
hell?
reason why we hung out. I wonder if I was with Mishka.
Yeah, you're probably with Mishka.
And then he was like, oh, Brian lives right here. And then we pulled up and we were probably kidding
Maybe.
right
Damn.
there.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know where Misha's at. Hey, you for watching this, so Mish? Hey, dude, I don't. What's up, bro? Hey, happy birthday again. Let's see. I had
That's no
another
shot.
question. Hold on. There's no shot.
I mean, I'm just
So
kidding,
do you
I'm just
directly
kidding.
tell like your
Nah.
kids like to not be involved with these sort of things? You know, like do you directly tell them like, yo, stay away from that? You know, just forget about all that.
Well, I mean, like, it's not like we don't make them like blind to it, you know. Like, if kids ask questions, like, you know, I'm open with them, and like I'll be honest, and like I tell them my journey, you know. But like I'm a local football coach, you know. I coach at the park. Like, do you want to do that, or do you want to go, you know, try to go play Division I football and like be as great as you could possibly be, you know? And like, not to knock what I'm doing or to say that it's like, you know, less than anybody else's like occupation, but you know, I had bigger aspirations to play, you know, at the higher level. So, you know, and the decisions I made put me where I am now. And so I just kind of teach them that. And like, but I mean, I definitely don't like advocate for it either. It's not like, oh, I'm just like going to do whatever I want, like in front of some kids, like, cause they see it, you know, and you learn by example. Like, you know, like I said, it's like all about leadership and like showing kids by example, like this is how it's done. Like, this is what we're going to do. Like, and like I said, I've been trying to work on it and be better at it. And I started out really young. So it was like, this conversation that we're having right now is not the same conversation we would have had like 4 years ago. You know, I would have been talking about something totally different, but my mind has been evolving, and I've been training myself, and I've been learning, and just like listening to different people talk, and like different like motivators, and just like filling my mind with the right thoughts, and like your thoughts become your actions, you know, and like what you feed your mind is everything. Like, if you listen to the wrong music, bro, like, you know, like you listen to some of the music
100%.
that kids are listening today now, and it's like, I'm drinking lean, and, you know, I'm smoking
You
a blunt,
really
and
think
I
so,
just
though?
fucked 40 bitches, and it's like,
Yeah, Charles.
it's like, bro, if you're listening
Yeah,
to that
I-
all
100%.
day, repeatedly, like, you're gonna think, like, then you're gonna start saying it, and then, like I said, your thoughts become your actions. And, like, that's really all it is, bro. Like, you're like one step away from, like, I'm not saying you're gonna be going around shooting people, but it makes it that much easier to like be like, oh, my friend's drinking, like, or this person's drinking, like,
I wanna
I'm gonna
drink. I wanna
real
try
quick.
that.
Like, I want to see what's up, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, and like. It's like it's really all about like what you feed your mind, and
I
like,
feel that.
like I think even with like social media, like how you asked earlier, like, oh, what do you think about like social media? I think if like what I follow, like people I follow on Instagram are like motivators. Like I follow like, you know, Gary Vee. Like I follow Kanye West. Like I think Kanye West is like, I think in his pre, like, you know, before he was a motivator, but you know, I follow people like that, like, you know, different, like, I did dude's name is like Kong Wang or something like that. He's
Oh,
like, let's get this money. Like,
Oh yeah, I know the real estate
Asian
guy.
dude? Yeah, the real estate guy. Yeah. So like,
him?
you know, you
No,
just,
there's the one that I showed you was Talk.
Oh,
Talk
okay, I
Wang.
know Talk.
But
I know Talk,
Kang
yeah.
is the one that's always talking about it.
Oh,
like,
I know who that is.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
who
Yeah.
it is.
He's like,
I
let's
know
get
who
this
it is.
money.
I know
Yeah,
who it is.
so it's
I get
big
it.
time, bro. Like what you
Yeah.
feed your mind is everything. Like it's the same thing with what you feed your body. You know, if you're just
Yeah,
eating
hell
chips
yeah.
and bullshit all day, like that's what you're gonna become.
What's the
Chips
biggest
bullshit.
bullshit?
Wait, before
What's
we
the
get off,
biggest piece of advice somebody has told you that you've stuck with, that you've had in the back of your head forever? Or it could be more than one thing.
Like a
It-
good piece of
a
advice.
great, yeah, something that just fucking blew your mind, changed your life.
One thing is that I learned, and nobody really told me directly. It was like a YouTube video. It was like one of those little compilation videos of like different like talkers and whatnot. But it was just like discipline, like really like discipline. Like that's really like the key to success. Like if you're really gonna do like the same thing every single day and be like 100% at it, like you're really gonna like culminate something. You know, like it's really gonna like turn out to be like something great. And like you can do things that can put you like ahead, but the question is like, are you on the fastest track to become who you can potentially be? Like that's really the question. Like not are you getting better every day, like are you doing this, but are you on the fastest track to become the best person that you could potentially be? Like if you really think about it, like am I doing every single little thing possible to become who I want to be at the fastest moment, you know, at the right time, like when it's meant for me? Because you can do things that will take you off of that track, that'll like veer you. And instead of you being successful at, 30 years old, now you're like 35, maybe 40, barely reaching it. But if you had done the right things at that moment and had been disciplined, like, bro, you could have done it in like a lot less time. And like, that's really like a big key to success, bro, is like discipline.
Since you started coaching, you said it's been about 4 years, right? A little over 4 years.
It's about to be going on like 5, yeah.
How often have you caught yourself slacking off within those 4 years?
Oh man, a lot. Honestly, like a lot. And like I said, that's a part of like growing. It's part of like maturity. And like I said, if we had this conversation, 4 years ago, it'd be totally different. But I just think that it's okay to make mistakes. And like with growing up, like I said, I grew up like we were 21 going into the pandemic, and I was barely being able to go out, whatnot. And then the shutdown happened.
Yeah, how'd that affect you and the business?
It really did, bro. Like it really did in a good way, in a positive way, because I was able to learn like real quick, like because everything became consistent and it was like an everyday thing, and it was really like I had to be disciplined like with what I was doing, so it was like all the time, like can't lag, like can't be on no other shit. So it really had to like level up in a sense, and like we really did, like we were servicing like I want to say like 30, probably like 40 kids during like quarantine, like on a daily basis, like field training, weight room training, like just like teaching them about football and whatnot. And like
Y'all didn't get caught.
nah, honestly, I mean, like people were like hating and whatnot.
That one that he mentioned earlier, some guy on social media, he was also telling him, because I remember, because I used to go work out at his gym at his house. He was saying some shit like, yo, you shouldn't be coaching kids, because of COVID, this and that. But the kids wanted to train. The parents were okay with them training. And, bro, the kids were there alone. It was one kid by himself. He had hand sanitizer. He had Lysol. He had everything,
Literally.
And it wasn't
Literally.
10 kids at once. It wasn't one kid and another kid would come in right after. It'd be one kid in the morning. You take an hour, 2 hours. Nobody's there. Sanitizes everything. And then the next kid comes in. The parent will even be there with the kid, And a lot of people were giving him and the business backlash, like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be training. Kids shouldn't be working out with other kids during COVID. Kids shouldn't even be out during COVID and stuff. You just had people all over just fucking saying that you shouldn't be doing that.
And it's not like we were just like blatantly like saying like, oh, fuck the CDC and like, everything that was going on. It was like we weren't doing that either. It was like, there was
nobody ever caught COVID. Never.
I mean, honestly, I won't even lie. Like, kids did catch, like, COVID, but it wasn't, like, an outbreak at the gym. Like, so there would be, like, a kid who, like, went to, like, his aunt's birthday, like, on the weekend. Like, this literally happened to one kid. Like, he told his mom, like, I don't want to go to, like, my aunt's birthday. Like, I don't want to go. And, like, she forced him to go. And then they went. And then he got COVID at the party. And then so he was like, Coach, I'm sick. Like, I can't come to training. So he got caught when, like, he got it when he was out. But it was never like, oh, I'm sick. I'm going to be in the gym working out. Like, I'm still sick. Like, and then everybody got it. Like, no, I didn't get COVID, like, throughout the whole thing either.
Me either.
It was crazy.
That's good.
Didn't get it either.
We were traveling a lot too. Like we were taking kids to like Arizona, like Nevada. Like
Jesus
I was
Christ,
close,
for
I coached
what?
in, like Utah. Well, again, like I said, it was an opportunity to compete. So like
At the 7-on-17?
yeah.
Oh, you guys were fucking cross country type shit, kind of?
Yeah, well, we went to Arizona, like, I want to say, like, 3 or 4 times, like, within that year. And then we went to Nevada, like, 3 or 4 times, like, within that year. And, like, we just competed with, like, a bunch of, like, different kids that were training with us. And, like I said, it was just all about opportunity. And, like I said, when the kids came and like the season came, bro, they were so prepared. Like they were on fire, and like the numbers and like everything showed like the work that they had put in, you know. And like of course again, like I said we were safe, and you know there was masks and whatnot. Like that was a part of like our uniform during quarantine. Is like we bought all the kids like a mask, and like it said like Beast on it. It was like dry fit. And, yeah, it was cool.
How was that all paid for? Like through fundraising?
So like no, so the kids pay, like if you're a part of the team, like you pay a team fee, you know, like any team. Most teams are nonprofit organizations, and like there is like a fee associated with it because you get your uniform, you know, you get your like swag bag and you know whatnot. So whatever money's like left over from that, we typically like if parents can't afford it. So like say we have a tournament, right, and like the tournament's like $500, right? We'll divide that by 20 kids, and then however much it is, like the kids will pay individually for the tournament. And then say like if you're a kid who can't afford it, but there's like money in the bank from the like the tournament, like the initial fees, like the sign up fees and whatnot, then we'll like use that to help cover that, you know. Like I said, we try not to turn kids away, like, so, but parents are also supportive, and they know like, hey, you know, most tournaments, like most teams are ran like that. Like if we're gonna go to a tournament, like, all right, everybody has to pay, like, and then there's like a team mom who like, you know, like makes like oranges for everybody, and like there's Gatorades after the game, you know, like stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
it's cool. It's like I said, it's a community thing, you know. It's like we really try to like bring people together and like give back, and it's like constantly giving back. Like we went to the NFL experience this weekend, and, like it was me and like 5 other dads, and like there was like 10 kids that went, and like some of the kids had rides like from the dads, and I actually carpooled with one of the dads and like 3 kids. So you know, it's just like just growing a community and like building like a stronger bond between people, and like these people are like all from like different cities, different teams, but just them coming together, it's like it's really cool to see. It's like really remarkable, honestly.
What's the biggest hardship that you faced throughout your entire career of coaching?
Biggest hardship. Biggest hardship. I think just facing adversity. Honestly, like I said earlier, just like having a lot of people like naysayers like say like, oh no, you're not a coach, like you can't do it, like who are you and stuff like that. Like that was really hard to deal with. Because like I was confused why I was getting hate. You know, I was confused, like, you know, like I said earlier, people would like try to box you in and say like, oh, you can't do this, or like, oh, you know, like you can't be a part of this, and you can't like, you know, be your own person. And like it was tough to like navigate through that at first, you know, and like just learn like how to be able to deal with like different people, and like just like growing from it, honestly, and like not letting it dwell, you know, not dwelling on it, not like putting myself in a hole, because there was times where I did, you know, fall in a hole, and I was like, man, like, you know, I'm struggling right now with what I'm trying to do. Like I see the vision, and it's like it's not coming to fruition because, you know, so and so is saying something and whatnot. And I just like I try to leave all that stuff in God's hands, you know. I really try to like, you know, let him take care of that. And you know, I just keep doing what I do, because I think at the end of the day, like, God's not gonna bring any like bad upon somebody that's like doing His will, you know. If you're like if you're out there with the community, you know, you're trying to build better leaders, and like I said, it's really faith based. Like we pray with the kids every day, like after training. So, you know, it's like it's not we're not taking, you know, we're not taking from people. It's only giving.
What would you? Oh, go ahead. Go.
So I was just gonna ask real quick. So how much are you about what you teach in your own personal life? Like, are you really about what you're teaching?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think like from like a leadership perspective, and like just like a work ethic perspective, I think big time, just to be able to see like how Beast has evolved like over the years, and like how much more organized it's become, and like again, like I said, seeing the leadership coming from the kids, like I really try to show by example. And like a lot of people say like, oh, people who work out all the time, like those are like people who are like really disciplined and whatnot. And like I don't work out all the time because I'm constantly putting in work for these kids. Like, bro, I train like 7 days a week. Like I've trained like 5, like Monday through Friday, like, you know, anytime from like 3 to 8 p.m. And then we're playing on Saturdays and Sundays, like every weekend, back-to-back weekends, you know. So it's like I show them like, look, bro, like I'm going to make myself available so that you have somebody who's going to teach you how to work out and how to grind. And we know, like, as I'm pretty sure we've all played sports before, like you got to work 5 days a week, you know, like payday's on Friday, you know, that's when the game day is, like, you know, that's when we cash out, you know. And so if you're not consistently working 5 days a week, like in the off season, like the kids won't have that opportunity. And like that I feel like that falls on me, you know. And like I take that responsibility on, because like I said, I know what it's like to not have people there to do that, and like not have a pops, and you know, not have somebody who would be at the park with me throwing the ball, like, you know, and teaching me like those little things. So it's really like a big deal for me, and I think just constantly learning. I really tell the kids, like, you know, you guys are lifelong learners, like, and so am I. Like, I don't claim to know everything, and I'm not like, oh, I'm all being and I know everything, and like I tell the kids, like, look, bro, I'm gonna learn every single day, and I'm gonna teach you. And you're going to teach me too. Like, you're going to teach me about life. You're going to teach me, like, you know, about yourself. And, like, I'm going to learn through you. And, like, we're going to grow together.
Yeah. If you were to go back if you could, like, go back in time and talk to yourself, like, when you were 18, when you, like, barely started, like, training and stuff like that, like, what is some advice that you would give to yourself? Anyone
who wants to become a coach back in the day.
Anybody.
When you started at your
age. Yeah. When I was young, I think maybe just 1, be confident, you know, 2, be authentic, and, you know, 3, be disciplined. Those would be, you know, the 3 keys to success that I would give, because it's like, if you're confident, people will believe in you. You know, you're authentic, then people know that they can trust you. You know, and then if you're disciplined, then you have consistency, and you have everything else that follows under that. And I mean, I think that's what it takes to be great.
Damn.
Is there any message you would have, like, to the younger youth, like any kids growing up or trying to, like, just get it to the next level? Is there any words you would encourage them to tell?
Really just like that question, you know, like, are you on the fastest track to be the greatest that you could potentially be? Like, if you ask yourself that every day, and it's funny because I actually just talked to my kids about this earlier in the car, because I have like 3 really good athletes. My fault, I'm gonna smack this water real quick.
Smack that water, bro.
Don't go cut that hour.
That's like bidet water.
You can keep that in
No,
there.
just
That's my character. I'm just
There you
kidding. But I actually had 3 kids that were with me in the car earlier, and I was telling them that because they were all kind of like in the shadows of the team that they played on, and like the coaches had favoritism, and I was like, look, like, you guys are all gonna play on different teams next year, you know, like, that's the journey that you guys are taking. I was like, and you guys are gonna be that guy on your team, like what you're doing right now, how you're working out 5 days a week, you know, 3-4 hours with me every day, like, this is gonna lead to something, you know. And just kind of like motivating them and telling them, like, how can you be better? How can you push it to 100% every day? Like, that's really like the biggest thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you to our guest.
Thank you.
Know, Beast, Coach. Thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Yes, sir. No, honestly, I really appreciate you guys having me on, and you know, I look forward to the next one. I think it'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Next time you'll just come and we'll just chop.
Yeah, we'll just be chopping.
Is there any
Bet.
you want to shout out your Instagram or your social medias that people can follow you
Oh,
on?
yeah.
For real.
So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, it's beast dot with like the period by nature on Instagram. There's also beast.7v7. Those are like the 2 business pages that we have. And then if you want to see like kind of like my content and what I do as like a coach and whatnot, you could follow coach_AYE. So it's Coach A, but it's like the letter A. Like, it's my first name is Arthur. So yeah, it's for everybody. You know, it's like, oh, who's Coach A? Like, yes, you know, Coach Arthur.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
There
you
you
know,
go.
go ahead, tap in. You know, at the Tapping
That's
In
right.
podcast.
Tap in,
you
tap
know?
in with
Right.
Tap In
Appreciate you
podcast,
guys.
you know.
Thank
See
you.
you guys next week.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys for tuning in. Catch y'all next week. Yeah.